Hello, my name is John, and today I am joined by...
My name is Daniel Mai. I'm majoring in computer science.
My name is Janessa Solis, and I am in communications.
Linda Matsumoto Elliott, my major is nursing.
Giselle Fernandez, and I'm majoring in communication.
I'm Anthony Leba. I'm majoring in studio arts.
And in our discussion panel today, we'll be speaking about the ongoing stereotypes about the Asian community and how we only excel in the science and math fields. I think that throughout time, this kind of generalization can impact the members of its culture, as it can really strip away the individuality within the members of that specific culture. I think that it's also very interesting to look at the background and where this kind of view started off from and where in our historical roots this started.
Well, John, it started back in the 1960s with sociologist William Peterson when he coined the term model minority. And he was describing the fact that the Asian Americans here in the United States is one of the ethnic minorities that actually was successful here in the United States. And he believed that that success was due to the fact that the Asians had a very strict work ethic and also a strong family value. The term also is in response kind of to the civil rights movement at that time, where the blacks weren't being modeled. They were fighting for their civil rights. And during that time frame in the United States, the 1965 Immigration Acts gave preference to people of professional backgrounds. And so a lot of Asians came here in order to, with the medical background, in order to give their family an opportunity to live the American dream.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I wanted to bounce off of the thing you talked about with the family, how it stems from that. And I think a lot of Asian cultures are really about like hard tradition, and their tradition is you respect your elders.
Yeah.
So if you're bringing this newer generation to a country, they're going to think it's the greatest thing. You know, you're moving to this new land, so you have to show your respect to the older generation. And what they want is you to excel in these specific fields because that's what worked. And it just went throughout time, the same sort of hard set, tradition.
Well, from personal experience, I remember in middle school, I wasn't good at math at all. And in pre-algebra, even if you fail or do bad, like get a D or F, you know how usually you won't move on, but you do move on to algebra, even if you don't do well in pre-algebra. And I remember telling my mom that I was struggling because she seen my report card and was like, "What is this?" And she was just like, she was expecting of me to do good in math already, and was like, "Why are you failing when you should be getting an A?" And she finally agreed to get me a tutor, which at first she didn't agree of because she was expecting of me, but that actually moved my grade from a D to a B. But it's just that being in the Asian Filipino culture, you're expected to do well, so they don't really want you to look for help because they're so expecting of that.
Well, as for me, when it comes to math, I can't really say much because I'm a big-time mathaholic. But for science, that's not really exactly my cup of tea. Science and me don't mix. It's like I just remember there was like a lot of functions and stuff I just had to remember. I just couldn't remember. I just couldn't grasp it, I kept failing. I was too scared to ask for help. But sometime I just said, I just can't take it. I need help. But when I come to a tutor, I had the guts to say, okay, I need help. I don't understand. A tutor helped me to finally accomplish my goals, and yeah.
What my thoughts are regarding the stereotype is, are Asians smart in math and science because they're Asian, or is it because they study more than the average student? And it goes to any student overall. In high school, I wasn't really good in chemistry. I was that student that sat in the back. And when it was the time I needed to get my grades up, I could tell apart which students were excelling in chemistry, and those were the ones that sat in the front. So it happened second semester of chemistry. My class, we switched seats.
Yeah.
And I happened to sat in the front that semester, and I also sat next to a student that was not Asian but white, and she was excelling in the class, and I asked her many questions about the subject, and she helped me succeed in the class. And when it comes to the stereotype, so I want to say is embrace the stereotype. Don't get offended if someone says, oh, Asians are smart in math and science. Just take it as a grain of salt, take it as a compliment, because stereotypes, they're based off truths, and it's true that
Right.
I can solve arithmetics and
Yeah. So add to that point, I actually think it kind of affects the way you view yourself, as there's this kind of expectation that since you're Asian, you would know more about science or math. You'd be more inclined to know more about that kind of stuff. And when you're like your situation, when you look at it and you're looking at yourself, I'm supposed to know this. You kind of, since society tells us Asians are good at this, you're looking at yourself, I'm supposed to be good at this. So you kind of look at yourself in a lower kind of, you're not living up to the expectation, even though it's mostly a stereotype.
Right, but that also factors in, the teachers, the school system actually kind of has that stereotype
Yeah.
in mind too. So it makes it harder for Asians that are not good in science and math to actually look for help. It just makes it harder.
It does. So for our first panel, we talked about the ongoing stereotype about the Asian community and how we only excel in the math and science fields. Actually, in the second part of our discussion, we would like to talk more about other fields that members of the Asian community actually excel at, and that isn't strictly limited to the math and science fields.
Yeah, I had one I wanted to bring up. We watched this documentary in one of my classes about this Asian American artist named Maya Lin, and she's well known for her work on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. And it was a blind submission. She submitted for it, and she won the competition. And I just thought it was kind of amazing that she won it. She was at only 21, an undergrad at Yale, and she was able to get this, what's now like a highly acclaimed piece done, even though it's not, there's slight architecture, some math involved, but its majority is art. It's not like a science field or anything, so it's not very stereotypical.
What's interesting about that also is that she received a B in her college class for that project, but yet she won, and she actually beat out I believe her professor also submitted a plan,
Wow.
and that wasn't, and she beat him. But Maya Lin's also known for her memorial on the Civil Rights Memorial in Montgomery, Alabama. And it's near the place where Martin Luther King was the pastor. So on that memorial, it has the names and the movements, documenting the movements of the civil rights. She's also a recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom for the Vietnam Memorial, and also for her works in What Is Missing Foundation. And it's a foundation that raises awareness for the loss of the biodiversity and natural habitats here on Earth.
Another person I'd like to kind of bring up is very widely known as Jackie Chan, because I would see him as a very good example of someone who's multi-talented, but also not specifically towards the field of science and math. I see someone that's also kind of a representing the Asian community,
Right.
but not in a math and scientific way.
Yeah, Jackie Chan, he was actually born in Hong Kong on April 7th. His name is actually Chan Kong Song. At age 7, he learned martial arts. He studied acting, singing, dancing. Some of his famous movies include Rush Hour, Shanghai Noon, and
The Spy Next Door.
Yeah,
It's a great film. It's a great film.
Drunken Master.
And a funny thing, also, he also sang the song "I'll Make a Man of You" in Cantonese. And like, another great thing, he's one of the only actors who does his own stunts.
Wow.
I know, right?
Adding to that, he's actually the first Asian star or Asian film star to actually get a star on Hollywood. He actually trained as a martial artist. He started his career as a child artist in Hong Kong and then moved into cinema. He soon became a well-known public role, known figure in Hollywood. He gave a rise to the new genre of comic kung fu, and he's actually the highest paid Asian American star in the film industry, and he also received a Lifetime Oscar, achieving and recognizing his lifetime contribution to film back in November.
What I have to say about Jackie Chan is he helped develop, the intercultural connection or communication between Asians and blacks with the movie Rush Hour.
Yeah.
It helped develop, an inside joke between
The two cultures.
right. So, you have your friend of, your black friend,
Say it.
and then you could be like, hey Carter, and your black friend too.
Yeah.
You could be, hey Lee.
Kind of
And-
takes away from like the tension and just
Right.
just bringing cultures
Right,
together. Yeah, I think he's it's easy since he's such a big star that we kind of just see him as a regular actor. I think from time to time it's nice to look at that he's someone that represents the community in that light, that he's multi-talented but not only in the math and science field, which I think is pretty good. Would you guys like to add anything else?
Well, just as far as his stuntman, he was actually a stuntman for Bruce Lee.
Really?
And the Asian people thought that he would be the next martial artist to take over for Bruce Lee, but like he said, his couple films that he actually did for just the regular standard martial art films kind of banked. And so he went into the comedy side of it, and he was more successful that way. And like you said, he was a stuntman. He did most of his stunt, and he's one of maybe 40 actors or actresses here that actually do their own stunt. But he does some pretty dangerous stunts. I mean, he slid down a 21-story skyscraper without safety harness. He's done karate stunts on moving buses. He actually was jumping from a wall to a tree and missed a tree, fell down and cracked his head open, and actually had to have emergency brain surgery.
Really?
my.
So he's one of the few actors that does all those dangerous stunts himself, but also, just the fact that he's doing all this and he doesn't need to.
Yeah.
But that seems to be his model type, is being a one-man cinema.
Yeah, kind of just
Right.
doing several stuff. I think he needs to do a Rush Hour 4 though.
Yeah.
We need to watch it. Well, that's it. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye. Wait.
If you are interested in a career in sports broadcasting, whether you're commentating a live game
or hosting your own TV show,
or working behind the scenes, then this is the class for you.
For more information, contact Greg Poff, that's me, at solano.edu.
we hope to see you here next semester. And remember,
It's more than just sports, it's an education.